May peace be on all of you. Myself, Dr. Majid Khan, Associate Professor, Loknete Dr. J.D. Pawar, College of Pharmacy, Kalwan, Nasik. I welcome all of you in this diuretic chapter. So, in lecture 3 of diuretic, we will cover loop diuretic and potassium sparing diuretic. So, the first one is that is loop diuretic. As they indicate, these drugs act on loop of Henle or thick ascending loop of nephron. So it is the part of nephron that is loop of Henle or thick ascending loop. Therefore, the name is given loop diuretic. So this loop diuretic are two types. First one is amino benzoic acid derivative. So loop diuretic, that is first type is amino benzoic acid derivative, and second type is that is phenoxyacetic acid derivative. So the first type amino benzoic acid derivative is again subdivided into two types. First one is 5-sulfamoyl 2-amino benzoic acid. So it is the structure of 5-sulfamoyl on fifth position sulfamoyl group, 2-amino, this one is 2-amino benzoic acid. So it is a benzoic acid. And second subtype is 5-sulfamoyl 3-amino benzoic acid. 5-sulfamoyl 3-amino benzoic acid. So if we see these two structure, only the difference is the position of amino group. Here on position 2 there is a amino group, therefore 2-amino benzoic acid derivative. Here the amino group on third position, therefore 3-amino benzoic acid derivative. So loop diuretic having two type. In that first type is amino benzoic acid derivative, which is further divided into two types. First one is 5-sulfamoyl 2-amino benzoic acid. On second position amino group is there. And second subtype 5-sulfamoyl 3-amino benzoic acid. So here amino group is on third position. So if we see the SAR of amino benzoic acid derivatives, here the first point is there is an acidic group at position 1. The carboxylic group provide optimal diuretic activity, but other groups such as tetrazole may give diuretic activity. So as we see in general structure, it is a benzoic acid derivative. So on first position there is a carboxylic group, COOH group, which is required for activity. But instead of carboxylic group, if there is a tetrazole ring, then it also show the diuretic activity. Second point, sulfamoyl group at position 5 is required for activity. So in both the type, sulfamoyl group is present on fifth position, therefore it is required for activity. Then next point, the X group at carbon 4. So here is the X group, this one is X group on fourth position. So X group at carbon 4 can be chloride, can be CF3, or sometime may be phenoxy or alkoxy. So this X may be generally halogen, but it may be phenoxy, that is phenyl group with oxygen, or alkoxy, alkyl group with oxygen. Fourth point, the substitution that can be tolerated on 2-amino group of sulfamoyl 2-amino benzoic acid are limited. So the first class, that is 5-sulfamoyl 2-amino benzoic acid, on amino group there are some substituent is there. For example, furfuryl and thionyl methyl moiety give derivative with maximum diuretic activity like furosemide and azosemide. So it is a structure of furosemide and azosemide. So these drugs are the example of 5-sulfamoyl 2-amino benzoic acid derivative. So in case of first category, first subcategory, 5-sulfamoyl 2-amino benzoic acid, on amino group there is a furon, here is a thiophene. So these are the drug furosemide and azosemide is an example of first subcategory, that is 5-sulfamoyl 2-amino benzoic acid derivative. Example of 5-sulfamoyl 3-amino benzoic acid is bumetanide and pyretanide. So these are the example of second subclass, that is 3-amino benzoic acid. So here if we see, so here is a amino group on third position, but here there is a substitution. Similarly, here there is a pyrrolidine ring on amino group. So it is a bumetanide and pyretanide. So these two drugs are the example of 5-sulfamoyl 3-amino benzoic acid derivative. Above example, furosemide azosemide is an example of 5-sulfamoyl 2-amino benzoic acid, and this drug is the example of 5-sulfamoyl 3-amino benzoic acid derivative. Regarding mechanism of action of this loop diuretic. So loop diuretic, this drug as name indicate, it act on loop, that is thick ascending loop. So this drug acting on site 2, that is thick ascending loop. In site 2 there is a co-transporter system called as 1 sodium 1 potassium 2 chloride. So there is a transporter system on site 2. So it is a one type of pump called as 1 sodium 1 potassium and 2 chloride co-transport system. This system transfer 1 molecule of sodium, 1 molecule of potassium and 2 double molecule of chloride. So it is a ratio. The co-transport system name is 1 sodium 1 potassium 2 chloride. It is the ratio of ions which is transfer. So when there is a 1 molecule and 1 molecule of sodium and potassium is transfer, double of this molecule chloride is transferred. So it is the ratio 1 sodium 1 potassium 2 chloride co-transport system. This system located on luminal membrane of thick ascending loop. Here is transport of sodium along with chloride and potassium from luminal fluid into the cell of thick ascending loop in a ratio 1 sodium 1 potassium 2 chloride as shown in this figure. So here if we see, it is a co-transport system. So here the 1 molecule of sodium, 1 molecule of potassium, but 2 molecule of chloride is transport. So the reabsorption of sodium by this mechanism is complete when it is pumped into the interstitium by sodium potassium ATPase pump. So this co-transport system transport 1 molecule of sodium, 1 molecule of potassium, but 2 molecule of chloride, and this transport is complete when this reabsorbed sodium is again further reabsorbed by the sodium potassium ATPase pump. The chloride enters the interstitium through the chloride channel, and by counterpart potassium is excreted. The luminal potassium that exchange with sodium and chloride are recycled back into interstitium. So through this pump, sodium molecule is reabsorbed into this luminal cell, then it is further reabsorbed into interstitium by sodium potassium pump, and the chloride which is absorbed from lumen to cell, it is again reabsorbed into interstitium with exchange of potassium. Hence the net result is transport of 3 molecule of sodium, 6 molecule of chloride ion from luminal fluid into interstitium. So due to this co-transport system, totally 3 molecule of sodium, 3 molecule of potassium and 6 molecule of chloride is transported from lumen to cell, luminal cell. These result in generation of positive voltage which drive more cation, which may be magnesium, calcium, sodium and chloride from lumen into interstitium paracellularly. So paracellularly means between this gap. It is called as paracellular transport. So due to reabsorption of 3 molecule of sodium, 3 molecule of potassium and 6 molecule of chloride, there is a development of positive charge within the cell. Due to this positive charge, other cation means magnesium, calcium, it also reabsorb paracellularly between the gaps, paracellularly. Then in addition, there is a production of hypertonicity inside the interstitium, which causes drawing of water molecule from lumen by osmosis. So the first effect due to this reabsorption of sodium chloride is, first is positive voltage development, which causes reabsorption of other cation paracellularly, and second effect is, that is hypertonicity is also produced within the cell, and which causes drawing of water molecule from lumen to cell, that is by osmosis. So here hypertonicity is produced within the cell, due to which water from lumen transport to this cell by the osmosis process. So as we know, osmosis means from lower to higher concentration. So it is the second effect of this pump. Then all this combined effect is important for reabsorption of 30% of filter load of sodium and up to 20 to 30% of filter load of chloride. As luminal fluid leads to loop of Henle, it coming contact with mucosa densa cell that communicate with afferent arteriole. The mucosa densa cell are the house of 1 sodium 1 potassium 2 chloride co-transporter system and sodium potassium ATPase pump. This mucosa densa cell detect change of either rate of luminal fluid flow or solute composition. When fluid passes to mucosa densa cell increases, the mucosa densa cell communicate with afferent arteriole to constrict and therefore decrease in GFR, that is glomerular filtration rate, and this phenomena is called as tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. So it is about the physiology. So in short, when there is a transport, that is called as 1 sodium 1 potassium 2 chloride transport. So this transport system transport the 3 molecule of sodium, 3 molecule of potassium and 6 molecule of chloride from lumen to this cell. Due to this transport, two effects is occur. First one is development of positive charge within the cell. Due to this positive charge, other cation like calcium, magnesium reabsorb paracellularly. And the second effect of this is development of hypertonicity within the cell, due to which more water from lumen is transported into the cell by the osmosis process. So this combined effect also affect the mucosa densa cell. So it is a special type of cell, mucosa densa cell, which have communication with afferent arterioles. Afferent arterioles means these afferent arteriole means which Afferent arteriole means which collect the fluid and passes through the Bowman tubule. So this mucosa denser cell have communication with this afferent arteriole. So these mucosa denser cell also have this pump, that is 1 sodium 1 potassium 2 chloride co-transport system and sodium potassium ATPase pump. So this mucosa denser cell act as a sensor. When the fluid flow or solute composition is changes or increases, when the fluid passes to mucosa denser cell increases, the mucosa denser cell communicate with afferent arteriole to constrict and therefore decrease in glomerular filtration rate, and this phenomenon is called as tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. So it is the normal physiology how GFR is maintained. So mucosa denser cell is important, which act as a sensor. When the fluid passes to mucosa denser cell increases, then it communicate with afferent arteriole to constrict, and therefore the glomerular filtration rate is decreases, and this is called as glomerular tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. So it is the normal physiology. Now our drug, that is loop diuretic. So loop diuretic like furosemide and other drug have following effect. First effect, they inhibit 1 sodium 1 potassium 2 chloride co-transport system. So first effect of this loop diuretic, they inhibit this pump, which is an important main pump, 1 sodium 1 potassium 2 chloride co-transport system. As we see normally, reabsorption of 30% sodium and chloride is required to maintain hypertonicity, but when this diuretic inhibit sodium reabsorption, therefore it destroys the hypertonicity of interstitium, and hence there is no removal of water by osmosis, which causes loss of water. So loop diuretic first inhibit this co-transport system, therefore there is no development of hypertonicity which is developed normally. So due to this no development of hypertonicity, water molecule is not transferred from lumen to cell, and therefore which causes loss of water in the urine. These drugs secondarily increase urinary loss of potassium and hydrogen and prevent generation of positive voltage. So again, these drugs increase the urinary loss of potassium hydrogen, and therefore there is no generation of positive voltage which occur normally. So due to no generation of positive voltage, therefore paracellular reabsorption of other cation also decreases. Then this diuretic increase flow rate of luminal fluid passes to mucosa denser cell. Normally there is decrease in GFR by uptake of sodium and chloride and contraction of afferent arteriole, but there is not happen this is not happen because this diuretic also inhibit 1 sodium 1 potassium 2 chloride co-transport system of mucosa densa cell, and hence also inhibit tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism, and therefore it leads to increase in GFR, glomerular filtration rate. So all these diuretic produce the opposite effect which is produced by normally as a physiology. So in physiology, as we seen, there is a development of hypertonicity, there is development of positive voltage, there is a feedback mechanism, but this diuretic inhibit this pump 1 sodium 1 potassium 2 chloride transport and produce opposite effect, that is it destroyed the hypertonicity, means there is a no generation of hypertonicity, due to which water molecule is not reabsorbed, and it excreted as a urine. Similarly, it increased the urinary loss of potassium and hydrogen. Therefore, there is a no development of positive charge, due to which other cation is not reabsorbed. Then there is a disturbances in tubuloglomerular feedback mechanism. Therefore, it increased the GFR, glomerular filtration rate. And the last effect of this diuretic is it enhances the release of prostaglandin and therefore increase total renal flow by vasodilatory effect. So these are the main effect of loop diuretic, or it is called as mode of action or mechanism of action of loop diuretic. Now, individual drug example of this category, furosemide. So it is the structure of furosemide, which is the example of 2-amino benzoic acid derivative. So IUPAC name 4-chloro. So numbering is given. It is a acidic group. So it is a number 1, number 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6. So on fourth position there is a chloro group, 4-chloro. On second position this group is attached. That is 2-furon. It is a furon ring. 2-eel means here in furon oxygen carry number 1, then number 2. So here attachment is on number 2. Therefore 2-eel. Methyl, here is CH2. Methyl amino, this one is NH amino. 5-sulfoamyl, it is a 5-sulfoamyl benzoic acid. So total IUPAC name 4-chloro-2-furon 2-eel methyl amino 5-sulfoamyl benzoic acid. Uses: furosemide is primarily used for the treatment of edema, that is accumulation of fluid or inflammation, but also in some cases of hypertension. It is often viewed as a first line agent in most people with edema caused by congestive heart failure, in management of severe hypocalcemia, means low level of calcium, in combination with adequate rehydration. So it is the main uses of furosemide. Next drug is bumetanide. So it is a bumetanide is an example of 3-amino benzoic acid derivative. So here the IUPAC name 3-butyl amino. So here amino group on third position according to this group. So 3, here is butyl group, 4 carbon, butyl amino, 4-phenoxy. So it is a phenoxy group, phenyl with oxygen, 4-phenoxy, 5-sulfoamyl benzoic acid. So 3-butyl amino, 4-phenoxy, 5-sulfoamyl benzoic acid. Uses: it is used to treat swelling and high blood pressure. This includes swelling as a result of heart failure, liver failure, or kidney problem. Now the second category of loop diuretic, as we seen, that is there are two type of loop diuretic. That is, first one is amino benzoic acid derivative. In that two type, there is a 5-sulfoamyl 2-amino benzoic acid and 5-sulfoamyl 3-amino benzoic acid. Now the second type of loop diuretic is phenoxyacetic acid derivative. So it is a general structure of phenoxyacetic acid derivative. Phenoxy means phenyl with oxygen. Phenoxy, this one is acetic acid derivative. So if we see the SAR, the optimal diuretic activity achieved when, first point, oxyacetic acid moiety is placed in one position of benzyl ring. So this oxyacetic group is on position 1. If we shift this group on position 2nd or 3rd or other position, the activity decreases. So this group is always on the first position. Second point, acryloyl group, in bracket, this group is called as acryloyl group, which is located para position to oxyacetic acid. For example, ethacryonic acid is an example of this category, ethacryonic acid. So here is acryl group. This one is acryloyl group, which is para. Para means related to this group, it is in para position. So this acryloyl group is always located on para position of oxyacetic acid derivative. So it is the main group, oxyacetic acid, on para position, this group is there, that is acryloyl group. Third point, activating group, it may be chloromethyl, occupy either second or third position. So here there is a chloro group which is activating group on second and third. So here is position 1, this group is position 1, 2, 3, and this one is para position, fourth position. So activating group occupy either second or third position. Next point, in acryloyl moiety, alkyl substitution is of 3 to 4 carbon in length and occupy alpha position with respect to carbonyl group. So in this group, there is a 3 to 4 carbon which is alpha to carbon. So it is a carbonyl group. This one is carbonyl group. Just neighboring carbon is called as alpha carbon. So on this alpha carbon, there is a alkyl group of 3 to 4 carbon. So here there is a ethyl group, and here is carbon. So it is total 3 carbon, 3 to 4 carbon. So in acryloyl moiety, alkyl substitution is of 3 to 4 carbon in length and which occupy alpha position with respect to carbonyl group. Last point, the hydrogen atom occupy terminal position. So here CH2 group is there. So here hydrogen is there. So this hydrogen always occupy terminal position, means last position of carbon-carbon double bond of acryloyl moiety. So it is the example of this category, ethacryonic acid. IUPAC name of ethacryonic acid 2,3-dichloro. So here on second and third position, 2,3-dichloro 4. So it is the fourth position. This group is there. In bracket 2-methylene butanoyl. So here there is a 4 carbon with ketonic group, that is called as butanoyl and methyl. So here is methylene double bonded CH2, methylene butanoyl, phenoxyacetic acid. So basic is phenoxyacetic acid. So loop diuretic, it is a second type of loop diuretic, that is phenoxyacetic acid derivative. The example of this category is ethacryonic acid. So it is a loop diuretic. Now last class of this category of diuretic is potassium sparing diuretic. Potassium sparing diuretic. The negative feature of above discussed class of diuretic in concurrent use is that they increase renal excretion of potassium and induce hypokalemia. So a previous drug, which may be a loop diuretic or thiazide or carbonic anhydrase, these all category having disadvantage that it causes loss of potassium and therefore causes hypokalemia, that is loss of potassium. But as they indicate, this category potassium sparing means these are the drugs which prevent the loss of potassium through the urine, means these drugs preserve the potassium in the body. It does not causes loss of potassium in urine, therefore it is called as potassium sparing diuretic. So the potassium sparing, also known as antikalemic, which increase excretion of sodium and chloride but not of potassium. So it decrease the loss of potassium. As we know, adrenal cortex secrete aldosterone, which promote salt and water retention and potassium and hydrogen excretion. Under normal condition, aldosterone enters the principal cell at site 4, where it combines with cytosolic receptor and form a complex which move into nucleus, where it synthesizes additional quantity of sodium potassium ATPase pump, which is involved in exchange of sodium with potassium. In intercalated cell, hydrogen ATPase pump hydrogen into luminal fluid, which is also affected. So thus reabsorption of sodium and excretion of potassium and hydrogen is increased. So under a normal physiology, there is a hormone that is aldosterone. So it is a aldosterone which is excreted through the adrenal cortex. So this aldosterone secreted through the adrenal cortex. Then this aldosterone after secretion combine with their receptor. This receptor is intracellular receptor. As we seen, most of the receptor is present on the membrane, outer side of the membrane, but there are some receptor called as intracellular receptor. So this aldosterone combine with their intracellular receptor to form a complex. Then this complex enter into the nucleus of the cell and it increase the synthesis of sodium potassium ATPase pump. And the function of sodium ATPase pump is, that is, it reabsorbs the sodium and causes excretion of potassium. So the normal function of ATPase pump, that is sodium potassium ATPase pump, is it reabsorbs sodium and causes excretion of potassium. But our drug that is called as potassium diuretic, it is also called as anti-aldosterone diuretic. So this potassium sparing diuretic, for example, spironolactone and trimeteron, it is a competitively inhibit the action of aldosterone and therefore increase sodium and chloride excretion but retain potassium. So these drugs simply inhibit or antagonize the aldosterone effect. So the mechanism of action of potassium sparing diuretic is it inhibit aldosterone system. Therefore ATPase, sodium ATPase pump is not synthesized and we get opposite effect. Opposite effect means there is a no loss of potassium but there is a loss of sodium and chloride. So potassium sparing diuretic in simple language, it not causes loss of potassium but it causes the loss of sodium and chloride. Therefore these drugs are natriuretic, means it causes loss of sodium, that is natriuretic. Then chlorouretic, which causes loss of chloride, and anti-caliuretic, means it preserve the potassium. So these are the mechanism of action of potassium sparing diuretic. So in summary, potassium sparing diuretic inhibit aldosterone. Therefore it affect the function of ATPase pump, which causes loss of sodium, but there is a no loss of potassium. Example of this drug is spironolactone. So it is spironolactone having the steroid nucleus. IUPAC 7-acetyl thio. So it is a 7 position. Numbering start from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one is 5. Then 6, 7, 8, 9, and this one is 10. Then here 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and this one is 17. So it is a standard numbering of steroid type of drug. So here on 7th position there is a acetyl thio, acetyl group with sulfur, acetyl thio. 3-oxo, so this one is 3-oxo carbonyl group. Pregnenolone, so it is a pregnane, it is a pregnane, 17 carbon with steroidal nucleus is called as pregnane, but on 4th position double bond, therefore 4-ene. So pregnenolone. On 17th position though there is a dihydrofuran, it is a furan ring, furan, 2-one to dihydrofuran. Here there is a no bond in furan, therefore it is called as dihydrofuran 2-one, means on 2 position there is a ketonic group. So IUPAC name 7-acetyl thio, 3-oxopreg, 4-ene, 17 dihydrofuran 2-one. Uses spironolactone is used preliminarily to treat heart failure, edematous condition such as nephrotic syndrome or ascites in people with liver disease. Also use essential hypertension, low blood level of potassium, secondary hyperaldosteronism such as occur in liver cirrhosis. On its own, spironolactone is only a weak diuretic because it primarily targets the distal nephron collecting tubule, where only small amount of sodium are reabsorbed, but it can be combined with other diuretic to increase the efficacy. Next drug of this category, trimeteron. So it is a structure of trimeterine. IUPAC 3-phenylptyridine. So it is a, if we numbering, start here 1 2 3 4, then sorry, numbering 6-phenylptyridine. So here 6-phenylptyridine 247 triamine 247. So here numbering start from here 1 2 3 4, then 5 6 7. So on sixth position there is a phenyl pteridine. It is called as pteridine. This combined ring is called as pteridine. On second, 4 and 7th position amine group is there, triamine. Uses: this drug is commonly prepared in combination with hydrochlorothiazide for treatment of hypertension and edema, that is water retention. This combination is in class of medication called as diuretic or water pills and causes the kidney to get rid of the body's unneeded water and sodium through the urine. So these drugs mainly given in combination in these conditions. Now next or last drug of this category, potassium sparing diuretic, is amiloride. Amiloride. IUPAC name 3,5-diamino. 3,5-diamino. So here again there is a numbering 1 2 3 4 5 and 6. So 3,5-diamino. On third and fifth position there is amino group. On sixth position chloro group, 6-chloro. Then N means this N. Diaminomethylene. So it is a diaminomethylene, means carbon with double bond. Methylene. Ring is pyrazine. This ring is called as pyrazine. 2-carboxamide. It is a carboxamide. Uses: amiloride may be used in combination with thiazide diuretic for treatment of high blood pressure, or less commonly in combination with loop diuretic for treatment of heart failure. Amiloride can be used as a monotherapy, means single drug therapy, or an adjunctive therapy along with other diuretic like hydrochlorothiazide, furosemide, for treatment of ascites and edema due to cirrhosis of liver. So it is the main use of amiloride. So it is about the loop diuretic and potassium sparing diuretic, which is the important class of this category. So in exam there may be question asked about the short note on loop diuretic or short note on potassium sparing diuretic. So it is about the diuretic chapter. If you like the video, then subscribe the channel. Thank you very much.